Welcome to The Explainer. You know the drill. We take complex topics and make them, well, simple. Imagine this. You get a tiny bite from a sandfly. Weeks, maybe months later, a sore appears on your skin and it just won't heal. So, what's going on here? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on the microscopic culprit behind this ancient disease, a parasite called Leishmania tropica. All right, so to really get a handle on this, let's start with a proper introduction. Who is this microbe? Oh, and here's a little tidbit for you. It gets its name from William Leishman, the Scottish pathologist who first spotted it way back in 1901. Every organism has a family tree, right? Well, let's take a look at where Leishmania tropica fits in. It's part of a family called Trypanosomatidae. Now, that might not mean much to you, but its closest relative is a real nasty character called Trypanosoma. That's the parasite that causes African sleeping sickness. So yeah, right off the bat, we know we're dealing with a pretty serious lineage. Okay, let's get one thing straight. This isn't a bacterium, and it's not a virus. We're talking about a protozoan. Think of it as a highly complex single-celled organism, an endoparasite that has literally perfected the art of breaking into our cells and setting up camp. And get this, Leishmania tropica isn't a lone wolf. It's just one member of this huge, diverse family. There are actually more than 20 different species that can infect us humans, and they all cause different problems. You've got Leishmania major, Leishmania venezuelensis, the list goes on. So how does a parasite like this pull it off? How does it survive and spread? Well, it's all down to a very clever two-part heist. Let's dive into its life cycle. This is where things get really fascinating. The secret to its success is what scientists call a digenetitic life cycle. That's just a fancy way of saying it has a two-part life. It's like a spy, a master of disguise. It literally transforms itself as it moves from its first home, the gut of a sandfly, to its second, inside a human. So let's walk through this incredible journey. It really is like a heist movie. Step 1. The sandfly bites and injects the parasite. At this point, it's in a form called a promastigote. It's mobile, it has a little tail, it's on the move. But once it's inside you, it pulls off a quick change act. It invades our immune cells, our macrophages, and transforms into a totally different hidden form called an amastigote. And from there, it just replicates and spreads. Absolutely brilliant in a terrifying sort of way. Okay, so the parasite has successfully invaded. What does that actually look like for the person who got bit? Well, the result is something very specific, a skin lesion that just doesn't go away. Now, this isn't some fast and furious infection, it's more of a slow burn. It starts as just a small bump, a papule, and then over weeks or even months, it grows into a larger ulcer that's often weirdly painless. And you can see the problem here, right? Because it's so slow, it's really tough to remember that tiny insect bite you got months ago. And this quote, this really hits home why we need to take this seriously. Because even if the infection clears up on its own, which it sometimes does, it can leave behind permanent, disfiguring scars. And the physical and social impact of that, I mean, you can't overstate it. In some places, it leads to real stigma and isolation. So how do doctors even figure out what's going on? Well, cracking this case isn't always simple. It takes a really sharp eye and some pretty specific tools in the lab. So when they take a tissue sample, this is what they're looking for. See those little purplish oval dots? Those are the amastigotes, the hidden form of the parasite, literally hiding out inside the person's own cells. But here's the challenge. To an untrained eye, that could easily be mistaken for something else, like a simple yeast infection. To know it's Leishmania tropica, a pathologist has to spot two tiny structures inside it, the nucleus, which is the bigger dot, and that smaller, distinct dot called the kinetoplast. That kinetoplast is the dead giveaway, but you really have to know what you're looking for. And because it's so easy to get it wrong, doctors usually don't rely on just one test. They'll use a whole toolkit, looking at a tissue sample under the microscope for sure, but also running advanced PCR tests to find the parasite's DNA, or even trying to grow the parasite from a sample in a lab culture. All right, so we know how to find it. Now, how do we fight it? Let's talk about treatment and, just as important, prevention. What's really interesting is that the treatment plan can be completely different depending on where you are in the world. For instance, in a place like the Netherlands where the disease is imported, if the lesion is small and not in a critical spot, doctors might actually opt for a wait and see approach. Just let the body's own immune system do the work. But in countries where this disease is common, they're often much more aggressive with systemic treatments, especially if there are lots of sores or they're in a place that could cause disfigurement. Honestly, for anyone traveling to a place where this is a risk, the best medicine is prevention. It's pretty straightforward, really. Sandflies are most active between dusk and dawn, so try to stay indoors then. Wear long sleeves and pants, use a good insect repellent with DET, and sleeping under an insecticide-treated bed night, absolutely crucial. Okay, let's pull back for a second and look at the bigger picture. Why are we even talking about a so-called tropical disease in a place like the Netherlands? And here's the bottom line. You are not going to get this from a sandfly bite in the Netherlands. It's impossible. The specific type of sandfly needed to transmit the parasite just doesn't live there. So every single case that shows up is what we call an imported case. It's always connected to someone who has traveled or moved from a region where the disease is endemic. The good news is the fight is moving forward. There's some really cutting-edge research happening right now. Scientists are working on developing oral drugs that are more effective and have fewer side effects. The hunt for a human vaccine is still on, and they're using genomics, deep dives into the parasite's DNA, to really understand what makes a tick and how it develops resistance. And all of this leaves us with a really big question for the future, doesn't it? Our world is more connected than ever. People are traveling everywhere. And at the same time, climate change could expand the habitats for vectors like the sandfly. So how do we need to adapt our thinking about these imported diseases? Are we ready for what's coming? So, putting all this together took a lot of digging. We used a Gemini deep search to synthesize information from a whole bunch of scientific sources. If you're curious and want to go down the rabbit hole yourself, we've compiled everything for you. You can find a detailed list of our sources in the Notebook LM document linked below.
Hey, if you found this breakdown interesting or helpful, do us a huge favor and subscribe to the channel. And definitely drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your questions and your ideas for what we should tackle next. Thanks for watching.